Welcome to the Java Cafe, Java fam. Good morning. Welcome to the Java Cafe, Java fam.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Kind of had a little prop up there earlier. We're going to speak with the mayor about the cultural institutional access in just a few moments. But good morning, everybody. It is Wednesday, February 7th, 1 week out from, the day that I'll just be sitting somewhere chilling by myself. But welcome to the Java Cafe. As we do every first Wednesday, we are here with Mayor Michelle Wu from the city of Boston. I'm literally getting texts and inboxes as we speak about what I should speak with the mayor about. But we do have a few topics we're going to chat with her about today. We're going to check in on her impressions and get an update from what's going on from the city's perspective around Mass and Cass. Sorry, not Mass and Cass, but the Cass Center. Our brothers and sisters there. In that, we'll get an update on Mass and Cass. I literally was over there 3 times last week. Most recently, Monday, purposely rolled down Atkinson, 3 people. So we'll check in about where we are with violence. I met with Dr. Yablo last week as well. Just saw the announcement that the MBTA free services have been extended. We are going to talk about the new cultural institutional access and also check in with the mayor around her impressions of where we are as far as Black Boston. And also, and also hear some words from her in reference to Mariama White Hammond, who was our guest yesterday, who recently shared that she is departing her role as the chief climate person. So I am getting ready to bring in our mayor. Please welcome her, everyone. Mayor, what did you do to your hair?
I went like this in 5 seconds that I had. Don't look at the back.
It's just okay because you've been in the car and stuff, and so this is just like a whole different background, and you kind of pop it. But good morning, welcome.
Good morning.
Good to see you this morning. Yes, ma'am. I am trying to do better at letting folks know what we're going to talk about and graphics and stuff, and so let's just jump right in. And I know one of the things that has been a very hot topic in community is the fact that when we've been very intentional about the language, about our brothers and sisters who are at the Cass Center. And I just wanted to give an update. There was an impression that all 600 or so plus were coming into the Cass. And last I saw, it was about 175. Anywhere with you can, because we do want to also explain DCR, which owns the Cass Center, is a state entity. So there was only, we saw a lot of chatter. There's only so much that a municipality leader can do. And so where are we? What are your impressions? And what is it that we can do? And I'm sure the city is doing to support the brothers and sisters at the Cass.
Yeah, I've been through a couple times since the families have moved in. I was just there last night, right around dinner time. And so I was kind of meeting some folks and hearing how things are going from the staff perspective. Also, they said they're almost at capacity, which means they're probably, capacity was 400 people total. So they had been kind of bringing families in as they've needed space. Most of the families who had been sleeping at Logan Airport were brought in right away. And then over that last weekend, kind of added folks as they needed it. And then yesterday when I was doing a walkthrough, I met some families who had most recently been in a hotel in Revere. So there's a little bit of shuffling around. I'm not sure how everything is fitting together, but it's, the kind of track area that had a floor put down and lots of cots in there with kind of blankets and bedding, and most of the families kind of push their cots together to make a little family unit. But it's, people are waiting around and eager for their kids to get started going to school. The first, I think it was something like 75 young people were registered that first weekend for the Boston Public Schools in some of the nearby schools within walking distance who had seats available anyway. They will be in cohorts together, so they have kind of that network and support and extra dedicated resources around multilingual learning. The first batch of those young people actually should be in school right now. They started today. And then some of the newer young people who arrived will get registered as they get settled with caseworkers and all of that. So this whole situation is a temporary spot. I think the state heard loud and clear that the pool is necessary for community, for all the multi-generational activity that happens in the neighborhood. And that is there were some commitments to make sure that the transition happened in time to redo the showers and the bathrooms at the center, and then to have an increase in staffing after this as well because that was something that had been in progress and is a necessity for a community in addition.
Absolutely. Senator Miranda had mentioned, we had sort of communicated to check in with her about her perspective on this. And she mentioned that she wants to ensure that in general, she was pushing for some upgrades and renovations, and even now, so much more. One quick question, and we'll move on to getting an update sort of on MassCast, is that this does to some extent put a strain potentially on the city. As far as there's programs that were displaced. Are you aware, presumption was the Shelburne, Roxbury YMCA. Are you involved, or is BCYF or any level involved in trying to absorb the displacement of some of the programs?
Yes, absolutely. So our Human Services Chief, Jose Masso, and BCYF Commissioner Marta Rivera have spent a lot of time working to try to identify locations in conjunction with the state. The Shelburne has absorbed some of the programs. There are other I think the tennis program, for example, went to some spots in JP. Everyone's the track program. I stopped by over the weekend as well. They currently have a schedule where this week they're here, that week they're here. So it's a little, and it's really not ideal. And we're still trying to find more, even for the next couple of months, a more permanent and stable situation for them. And so we're working really closely. It's also, in addition to the dedicated programs, it was always open for anyone who wanted to come walk around and use that. So, that's a little bit of what I really worry about as well. Just this had been a space where you knew was always there. You could go if you needed to be indoors or just get some exercise. And so it's really clear, showing how necessary this space is for community. And although it's a state building and therefore under jurisdiction of others, we the city level had been working with the state to try to find other locations. There were over 15 places that we had talked about, whether it was city-owned buildings like schools or other locations, had gone on a bunch of tours, and the state was really looking for somewhere that was ready to go with enough bathrooms, with enough showers immediately for the families who had been at the airport. And our role then, once they made that decision, was to make sure that the public works outside, with more foot traffic, just in general, we need more attention to the area. The fire department came and did a walkthrough and said, actually, you need more, smoke alarms and this and that to be updated. So they fixed all that up. There had been some spots where they needed to order more kind of life safety kind of equipment. And then the police department's been in close conjunction with state police just to make sure, again, there's more presence, is given more people, both for the community, but also more importantly for the families inside, because already there's been some attention on some of these sites in other parts of the state from other groups who come in, sometimes even from outside the state. And when
you say attention, let's just clarify, negative people are jumping.
Yeah, there one of the white supremacist groups had showed up in Quincy when they first opened that shelter, just to be outside and kind of cause a ruckus. So when I talk with the families, they are mostly Haitian Creole speaking or Spanish speaking. Some have been in the area. One of the families I spoke to last night had been in Boston for 3 months already, just bouncing around different locations, trying to find a way to find stability. I keep saying this is not a problem about migrant families. This is a problem about housing that we had before anyone came, that we have across every community. And there are parts of the country where it just feels like less of a strain. And in fact, some of the mayors nationally that I talk to are like, we will, if you identify workers who have their work authorization, send them, we love to host more people to fill jobs and this and that. And they have lower cost housing because they live in a different part of the country. We are a place where that housing barrier for our own residents is tens of thousands of people on the wait list for BHA. It's, we talked a little bit, I'm sure we'll talk about Mass and Cass as well. But it just kind of spills over into every part of how we plan our communities. And so we need more housing in general. I saw a comment earlier about how did families end up at the airport?
Oh, man, you're in the comments? Okay.
Okay. I won't spend all, I'll let you moderate. But I had stopped by the airport because I had gone to DC for an arts convening and to talk to the Department of Homeland Security about the situation. And on the way over, I stopped in Terminal E while families were still sleeping there early in the morning. And the families were, Massport kind of had said, we don't know what's going to happen every night. People go to the welcome centers during the day, but they can't sleep there. So there are lots of locations for daytime services, filling out applications, getting connected to services. But then the default was people would get shuttled back to Logan because there was no overflow site. Now the state has opened several overflow sites. They're still looking for more. It just, we are and now we see nationally that it's not looking good for any kind of resolution that is both humane and creates pathways here and adds the border security that's needed. So it just, we are going to be in this for a little bit of time, and cities and states are really the ones who are having to step up, as always.
Absolutely. And it's interesting because I wanted to go a little bit in housing, but we got about 5 more subjects, and then plus the inbox. One of the things that is that you brought up was housing. I wanted to go a little bit deeper into that, but one of the things that's been impactful as we get ready to talk about Mass and Cass, Mayor, I went down there. I'm a board member at NECAT, and you go past there, and I've had to drive in there before. People have been outside. There have been reports from staff there that feces and stuff in the stairwells. Walked in the other day, smelled fresh and clean. I purposely left the board meeting, and I saw maybe 3 people on Atkinson. I stopped at the gas station. It's been pretty consistent. And so when I say it like that, it's almost not pessimistic, but it's like we do, because of history, wonder how long that is going to last. And this iteration of change has been kind of different.
Yeah.
How's it an impact on that? And what has been the sustainable? I know you mentioned the individual, the focus, which you mentioned here, announced here, the focus on the individual. What's different this time?
Yeah. First, no one is declaring victory on the opiate crisis or homelessness or mental health. And so we know part of this is the winter, that it's always folks find a way to be inside more when when you have to, when it's really cold. However, even compared to last winter, before we had kind of put in place this current plan, there were still dozens of people every single day outside on Atkinson Street before, and some version of encampments. And so none of that is there now. And it's kind of, I guess I think of it as, we always talk about, well, change is going to be, there's going to be some unknown things that happen if we move to a different situation from where we are. And it might be more expensive, or it might, takes more resources, or cause this or that to happen. But what we aren't always thinking is the cost of doing nothing and the cost of the current situations that we're handling. And so the key here is that we have put in place over 2 years, really, this infrastructure of low threshold housing where people could find housing with 24-hour wraparound medical supports that would get them stabilized and then move on to a more independent housing unit when they were ready, plus recovery programs and kind of a pathway that people could get on, and partnerships with all of our community providers and shelter providers to really change how shelters worked also, because folks had not been wanting to go into shelter because of negative experiences, or you couldn't go with your partner, and you couldn't feel safe in certain communities. And so there's been some changes to individualize more of the shelter spaces as well, for privacy, for security, for safety. And then overall, we've formed these mobile outreach teams where it's public safety and public health, and usually some of our community partners all together in units. And before, all of the energy and all of the staffing and all the resources had to be on Atkinson Street because there were 200 people who needed support. It was delivering Narcan on multiple times a day, sometimes to the same individuals in the same day. It was trying to keep, things safe in general when the encampments were cleared away because people had been connected to shelter and housing placements. Commissioner Cox showed me a photo of what had been the kind of things that had been confiscated out of the encampments that included bats, long machete knives, just multiple types of weapons that people had needed out of a feeling that they needed to protect themselves in a very condensed environment with a lot of other people. And so it took so much energy just to kind of watch and maintain and keep that area how it was. And now that the area has changed and it's dynamic, all of our resources and staffing can go to identifying each individual person and actually talking with them and connecting them to more housing and more services. So it's been a little bit of, we had to kind of just change the entire baseline that we were operating off of. And it's been such a close partnership and coordination with all of the teams involved. There's been a little bit of news in this area because Tanya Del Rio.
I was there. Let me introduce it.
Okay, go for it.
Because we know government, and I saw that promotion, and to me, I said, wait, one, good kind of a nod on a good job with what's going on in Mass and Cass. Thank you for clarifying. No victory has been declared and anything like that. Absolutely, but there is a difference. But the former 5 and poly guy in me is like, okay, so if Tanya's moving on, does that mean that this, is there a different approach or infrastructure? Is that position going to be refilled because she was leading in that work? And so, go ahead, Mayor. You jumped on it before I could introduce you.
So, Tanya Del Rio, who had been the director of our coordinated response team, which was kind of the hub, pulling together all those different departments and our community providers. She is going to start in a couple of weeks at the end of this month as the head of inspectional services at 1010 Mass Ave. So, and it's just, in some ways, it's a natural fit because she has been brilliant at getting all the way down into the weeds of how do we actually make things happen? What does it actually feel like? Why haven't people been able to access shelter or services before?
That's not needed at ISD, Mayor.
Because permitting is just about waving a magic wand, right? It's not about details. So this is going to have huge impact of how residents, businesses, how we think about, a lot of times when people have to deal with City Hall, it's either you think about a parking ticket or you think about ISD and some kind of inspection or permitting or this or that they manage. So she's still going to be in the mix when it comes to Mass and Cass, but she had right and left hand leaders at her side who are actually, we had done some internal interviews, and actually it came out that they just really wanted to be co-directors in the role, and the dynamic was working so well. So Michaela Nee and Brian Foran, who have been with Tanya this whole time, are going to step in as the co-directors. So it's really a lot of continuity in that role. We'll probably just make sure they have some more resources on that team headed into the spring and summer. But between Tanya's new role and this team that already has been doing what they're doing for a long time successfully now, I feel really good about where we're headed.
Absolutely, Mayor. Thank you for that update and jumping ahead a little bit. That's cool. Partially, and these, Mayor, it's interesting because these are two issues I had told someone recently that at one point, 3, 4, 5 months in a row, Mass and Cass, violence, Mass and Cass, huge important issues, but there does seem to be a turning. No declared victory. Going into now where we are with violence. A couple of months ago, you'd referenced Dr. Yablo. I got to sit with him last week and got to see sort of his, and I'm going to say it with all due, his more informed. He's had some time, so I think he was at BCYF, but at this purview is very different. I did also see one of the things I used to fuss about is the lack of intra coordination. Mm-hmm. And my understanding is that you and Chief Chu are like basically what Brother Isaac needs make sure that he has it, and the coordination piece. So where are we with violence now? And there's always this thing, and we've tried to get away from it, for the summer. What's the update on violence? And if we can, because we have a few more subjects, and Michael or somebody text me or whatever, what the mayor's absolute drop time is.
Yeah, you know, I get the numbers every single week, and we get the data on what all the different categories of public safety incidents are, including homicides, shootings, and community violence. The numbers, when you track it kind of year over year, Boston looks like we're doing a really good job, because now the last 2 years we've had historic lows on
I
gun
saw it.
violence.
There
It's
is on
been the
paper.
lowest ever since they've
Yeah.
been tracking the numbers in 2022, and then last year was even lower, so it's kind of, been headed in that direction. Now, we are still anytime there's any community member who's experiencing trauma, certainly from losing a loved one, but even just from being in an area where gunshots are fired, that is trauma that is unacceptable. And we have a plan that we are moving forward on, whether it is in the height of being right after an incident and needing to provide trauma supports and response, or when it is a quieter period and we are still meeting just as frequently. And so I think that's been a little bit of a key change. It's
Okay.
less like, okay, something happened, now we're going to, push the button and get everyone together. And instead, we are meeting no matter what is happening, in order to keep things on track and really to plan ahead, plan further and further ahead. We had the safest summer ever last summer. And just from a
Numbers.
community
Paper.
safety numbers perspective. But I will say, you can't, there's lots of reasons why anything happens, and you can't ever say this is the cause. But I will say, I hope it's not a coincidence that it is also the summer where we put the most resources into community block party grants, into activations. We hit the highest number of paid youth summer jobs ever. And this summer, we've said, we're moving away from the old model of we have this many slots and we're going to fill them. Now we've hit almost 10,000 young people in a paid summer job last summer. It had been stuck at like 3,500 and 5,500 for years and years before.
One year, I think there was like you were aiming for 7, like I
Yeah.
think the first year you were in, and it's at 10.
Now we're at almost at
Active?
10,000. And this summer, we're just saying there's no limit. You are a BPS student, you come to us, we will find you a paid placement.
Let me get clarity. So it's not, because at one point you had 50, I'm being facetious. You had 50,000 positions available, and for whatever reason, young people weren't doing the
That's
position.
right. We
There are
couldn't
10,000 slots available, and then
Filled. Filled. Yeah, it was somewhere a little over 9,000. So again, we had, even in past year, the first year that I was in office, we had said we're going to do 6,000. We had put 6,000 roles in as the total available, and again, only hit, it was like 5,500, something
Mhm.
like that. And we basically ended up redoing the entire process, where you don't have to fill out this and that form and go through this organization to fill out that. So simplifying the process, putting the guarantee out there, and then really working with community partners to identify young people. And this year, we're going to put a heavy focus on BPS, so that it's going to be just ingrained that you go from ending the school year into your next opportunity. We have a lot more what are called learn and earn jobs as well, where
Okay.
they are taking courses but getting paid to do that as well. So there's a mix of all kinds of options. You can work at a private company, you can work at a city department, you can do a learn and earn program at a local college. And the idea is that we want everyone to stay engaged, and it makes a big difference.
That is interesting to hear. I was just kind of under the impression that numbers were going up for available slots. I didn't know that you guys were filling them. So
Yeah.
that's good to know, because that
Yeah, shout out to Trin Wynn and her entire team. They've been absolutely incredible.
Okay. I know there's this understanding that young people within that category and targeted population. And I was actually just one thing that Dr. Yablo shared with me, that the age of the number of folks that are victims and those that are shooting is
Older and older. Yeah.
yeah. And
Yeah. In
so
the 30s.
so that doesn't address that population. Can you just for a second, just that population, with being aware of that, what are the targeted resources that you're looking at? Because for them, the summer really doesn't it does have a difference, with idle time and warm weather. But
Yep.
you just talk a little bit about that targeted piece. Dr. Yablo mentioned a couple of things, but I'm old. So a couple of things in that area for the older brothers.
I think whether it is Mass and Cass or really any issue that we have gotten down to the bottom of and made a difference, the key has been putting in place someone who is focused on it and thinking about it all the time, accountable for moving in that area, having really strong coordination between all of the other resources and community partners that are in this space, and then getting all the way down into the details of every person by person. And so it's the same formula here.
I was
Diablo is the
thinking, like,
focus.
yeah.
The community plan involves bringing to the table, again, whether it is a kind of hotter time or a quieter time, we are at the table with all of the agencies involved and all of the community partners involved. And then when we're at the table, they really go person by person, kind of block by block of this anniversary is coming up, that we just need to be a little bit more aware that this community might be more affected, or this person is connected to this school community or other network, and really, and then going around the table and saying who's got what, right? Who's going to reach out to which families, and so all the way down. And again, we're not there yet in terms of really feeling like, okay, this is done. We're, moving on to,
Yep.
But the progress in terms of just feeling like that plan is moving forward, no matter what else is happening in the world, has been a big difference.
Okay. I did get the signal that after that, we were supposed to let you go. Two things, if they will be gracious to me, Michael, is it is Black History Month. And it is one of the things that I got an inbox about, was one of the things that Boston is looking at. You recently, one quick thing I just want to mention before we move on, extension of MBTA services. It's
2 more years, free bus on those 3 routes. We still want to expand in general, but
is it 23,
23, 28, and 29.
Okay. And then very quickly, and we had, I wanted to spend a little more time on this, but Sunday was the first iteration of the cultural institutional access. We actually spent some time together at Museum of Science a couple of weeks ago. And that is one of the institutions. Like, very quickly, Mayor Michael, then we're going to kill me. We'll do Black History Month right after this. Just what was it that you experienced with the young people seeing it for the free access to BPS students as far as these cultural institutions?
It was so fun. So I spent the day at the Museum of Fine Arts. We were supposed to do that press conference with the kids behind, but as you see, they just started running up and down the stairs. And to be able to see them in that like grand, fancy, big space, just being kids and doing their thing, and seeing so many families having fun like that, it was amazing. Exactly what we were aiming for. And I got pictures from folks who were at the aquarium, packed with BPS families at the Museum of Science. So the 6 institutions are the Museum of Fine Arts, the ICA, the Museum of Science and the Children's Museum, and then the aquarium and the zoo. Every first and second Sunday, they're free for BPS students. For the older kids who have a student ID or transportation card, you just show them that.
Okay.
For everyone else, even if you are an older student, everyone gets emailed a code, it's like a 5 or 6 digit number. You just give it to them, and you can bring 3 family members with you for free. The goal is that they're tracking to see, are people going to different institutions? Do people kind of really find their home in one? How do they find out about it? This is going to go through August, and then we'll figure out how to hopefully expand or improve the program.
Okay. In that, Mayor, arts, history, culture, all a big part of what Black America has contributed to this country. Boston is a hub, a lot of jazz going on. We've seen me doing some stuff lately with Nia and whatnot. In that, you have launched the Reparations Task Force. They had a meeting last night. Where are we? How realistic is it? What is your sort of unique, aggressive approach as other cities, other entities are looking at this? Where are we with reparations, and what is the level of commitment that the city is doing? And then we know that, city and state, there's some limitations there. Where are we with reparations, and what is the, and then if you could speak to Black History Month.
Yeah, on Black History Month, the theme this year nationally is, and at the local level, is African Americans and the arts. And Boston has a lot to contribute on that front.
That's right.
So you can see, you can go to the city's website. There's the calendar of everything. There's the traditional events like the Black Veterans Brunch that we
Yes.
always host. Ben, the Black Employee Network, is having an event at Florian Hall, and then there's kind of new fun things that are sprinkled in according to the theme as well. Lots of performing arts. There's a night at Chez Vous.
I might be stopping by that one.
So that's going to be great. And we had a really fun kickoff yesterday with some amazing talent and honoring some of our local stars like Paul Goodnight, and with Aziza accepting the award on his behalf, and Originations. So
Yes.
Anyway, but the contributions of the Black community are not just in one category, and not just in ways that have been acknowledged in history, right? So in some ways, the reparations task force at this point is about going back and documenting the history of the unacknowledged contributions of the residents who were enslaved, of the systemic ways in which the city of Boston kind of then perpetuated those impacts on African Americans. And so there were 6 units of study, 6 time periods that were were put out for research partners, and 2 teams have been identified to cover those areas. They are amazing, fantastic teams of multiple researchers in each one, and they're working with the Reparations Task Force now. They've been officially brought on to begin their research. They'll go back in the archives, they'll talk with community residents, and really put together their report on how the city of Boston was involved in the transatlantic slave trade, and how in many ways the enslavement of African Americans has been embedded into different aspects of city operations, or how the city has formed. Once that documentation is done, there will be a further engagement period, just in general with community, and then some recommendations that come off of it in terms of what could reparations look like at the city level.
I have to let you go, but there was one part that you said that basically you're going to look at the historical impact of how Boston and how it approached an enslavement and whatnot, and how that translated into city operations.
Yeah, so the research teams gave a little bit of an update yesterday evening, and the time period from early on during early colonization, and kind of how the entire world economy functioned then, what the roles were. One of the teams had described how Dr. Kiara Singleton was saying how the general public often talks about enslavement only in terms of plantations, right, in a certain kind of industry. But in Boston, it was in taverns, it was in shipyard, it was
on Beacon Hill in the North End. Yep,
that's right. So the documentation of what that meant for the local economy unique to Boston then. And then as we get into more modern day, the teams that are looking at the kind of period of time that many of our community members lived through and or remember from stories from family members, there are ways in which different city departments operated to further perpetuate the exclusion and disenfranchisement. And so we will get all of that back and be able to take an honest look at how we got to where we are today and what we still need to do.
All right, Mayor, the apology to the Bennett family in this. I salute to you, but there, I know how the trolls and stuff are, and so let's end on a good note. Because they're going to kill me. We're really over. But Mariama White Hammond was on yesterday. She's had an intricate role in some of the documentation and just things that have happened in that space. And so this is a passion place for you. She said her favorite passion was the Power Core. I believe that's what Davo and them sing. And so what would you say if you were talking to Mariama White Hammond right now, what would you say to her in reference to her work? She if she does, we got a little taste of her final report yesterday. And so she named some things. What are your comments? And then Michael, I'm sorry, we'll let the mayor go.
Yeah. And we've had the chance in smaller internal groups to acknowledge and sort of start to have it settle in that what's going to come next. We would not have so many of the programs and exciting announcements and pathways for young people in the city and for community members, if not for her leadership in Boston in this role over the last 3 years, but also for her advocacy over many years in this space. The Power Corps program would not have happened if not for her, and that is now grown to multiple cohorts, looking at multiple job industries, getting snapped up as soon as they graduate by different employers. The recent news around Boston having a network geothermal system, like tapping into new technology for green energy, but doing so at the Franklin Field public housing community. That is the kind of work that she has been steering. And that, even that announcement, it takes years to get to that point. So she has always brought to this work not only the kind of, I don't know how to describe it, not only the direct need and kind of focus on what's ahead of us in this moment, but bringing the spiritual and the kind of larger connection to, again, how we've gotten to where we've gotten, how different communities were either empowered or disempowered in that progression, that focus on equity and how we use the moment to address the things that we need addressed, but also to think beyond just, emissions numbers and inches of sea level rise to which communities are being impacted and how we can right some of those harms for the future. That's a legacy that is going to continue shaping the city for a really long time.
Mayor, today was one of probably from your perspective, one of the most professional I've done with you, but today was
a lot to get through.
It was a lot to get through, but we made it. I know Michael's going to kill me and they may cut my time next month a little bit, but Mayor, thank you so much for coming in and being so transparent about what's going on. Keep up the good work. We both agree that there's room, a canyon for improvement in a lot of spaces. However, we're getting there. We are seeing to some extent, the needle shift a little bit. It doesn't mean we stop, but thank you so much. And great job at State of the City. I don't think you were on since then. And so thank you. And we will talk with you next month for Women's History Month.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. See you next time.
Yes, ma'am. Bye-bye. Everyone, I'm going to get in trouble because the mayor was supposed to be out of here at 9:30 and it's 9:42. But I'm saying listen, let me pull back some energy before the trolls start saying I'm capping. The numbers, I rolled down Atkinson. And it doesn't mean that now there are other parts of the community that may be impacted by decentralization. That's a outcome of decentralizing mass and cast. But and I did sit with Dr. Yarblough, and there was something that the mayor said about it may be small to y'all, but for years, one of the things, even back during the street memorial task force or whatever group I was on with Reverend Brown, going back 14, 15 years ago, the anniversaries. How are we supporting the community or those loved ones, immediate family, the hood, when anniversaries of all death is significant and a loss, but we know that there have been some folks that are very popular across the city. And when those anniversaries come up, how are we proactively reaching out to the family? Are y'all doing anything? Is a memorial going up? Are you going to the memorial? Are you doing an event? Can we support? Did the trauma team need to be there? To some, that might not be a lot. That's something that we've been asking for over a decade. And so, all right, let me catch up with the comments, getting off of here. Outward bound, Pastor Marion? I think so. I'm not sure. Sister Debbie, thank you. Miss Teresa, be careful before they start talking about you capping. No, I'm messing. Pastor Marion, James is the upward BP. What's that? This is the upward bound. I think upward bound is still, I'm not sure. Upward, not outward. What did I say? Outward bound. Yeah, I'm getting on the train. Uncle Thaddeus, thank you so much. Good to see you in the room. Pastor Marion, thank you, Mayor Wu, being included in the community events. Pastor Marion, I missed that. Obi said he'll be there. I'm just trying to think of where Obi said he will be. Shout out to Brother Rashad that's doing some great work. I need to get him on, Pam, closer to the summer. Or April, when they opened the we used to call it the the Red Shirt Youth Line, but what is it now? The Youth Connect something. We old. I'm loving the proactive approach you're taking. All right, Sister Michelle. I'd love to share a proposal with Mayor's Wu's office, drug addiction, violence prevention, Associate Daniel Ravenel, aka Mathematics. I know that he's a Ravenel. That's interesting. Because him and Exit Fame and all of them. Okay. That's interesting. I know that, brother. Definitely reach out to the office. I think I am all caught up. Erin is in this morning. Yesterday was her birthday. Hope you enjoyed that wonderful feast. Praise the Lord, everybody. All rise for the entrance of His Grace, Bishop William Dickerson. Hi, Bishop. Listen, this is, and I say this with respect, have respect and for the bishop and his, not just the office, but him as a man. But as I've matured and got older, I do call him friend. And so, Bishop, it is good to see you in the room this morning. Friend, brother, bishop, pastor, mentor. Good to see you. One of these days, we need to get you up on here. I've been trying since 2000. Bishop, I love you. But yeah, get Bishop on here. And if you all know him and know him well, when he's getting ready to get to a point, him and I have this joke. He's trying to get something out. Charlotte, if she's in here, Naraki knows it. When Bishop is stuck on something, snap that finger, everything. Revelation just comes off. Snap of the finger, there it goes. Bishop, it's good to see you. Love you, sir. Auntie Java, good morning to you. Good morning, citizens of Java Land. Been here, just not signed in. Great interview. Thank you so much, Auntie. Michelle, definitely will reach out to Mayor's Wu's office this AM. I'm partnering with Mathematics to save many lives. It's to save as many lives as possible. Absolutely. Bishop, good to see you. Good to see you, sir. Pam is saying, good morning, family. I'm traveling to Chile on Saturday, and I would like to bring 3 extra suitcases to help victims of recent massive fires. My focus will be on providing new underwear of all. You already know when I saw underwear. Those are new. Those are packages. Don't be descended. No new. Sorry. New underwear, socks, new underwear of all sizes, socks and diapers for both adults and children. If anyone would like to contribute, you can leave your donation before 6 p.m. this Friday at my business in the Cut, Boston Barbershop, located at 1437 Tremont Street in Boston. I'm also accepting cash donations. And Pam, unfortunately, the thing cut off. So can you just put your Cash App? Listen, everyone, this is what we do. And this is what we do in the Java Cafe. There's a need. And so if anyone has anything to, donate, new underwear, new socks, diapers for both adults and children. Oh, you mean not just the diapers, but the socks and I'm sorry. So Pam. Okay. But no, some adults might need the diapers too. So shoot. But the socks, the underwear, please go to 1437 Tremont Street, or Pam, can you just put the Cash App so I can put that on the screen? It cut off at $PA, and we don't want to be having folks send the wrong money. Look, they need you. Pam, I'm about to text her. Hopefully she didn't jump off. Pam, where's your Cash App? So we got, there we go. All right. I'm also accepting donations via Venmo, Pam Leans, Cash App. There's the Cash App. Cash App sign. Pamela, Amy. PAMELAAIMEE. Somebody type that in the comments so I can put it on the screen. $PAMELAAIMEE and Zelle at 8. I'll be giving out your phone number. And on Zelle to purchase more items on Friday night. Thank you very much. Even though it may not seem like much at the moment. And we tell them that all the time, Pam, $5, $10, $7, all of that adds up. If 10 people do that, that's $70 at most. And so please drop off the items at 1437 Tremont Street, or you can donate via PayPal or you can donate via Zelle and get that to her. Michelle says, I plan to drop off cash donation tomorrow when in Boston. Also, I use Zelle and PayPal. Miss Teresa said, do you have it? I'm only laughing because Teresa daggone minus Santana. Pam, you're going to have to hire a freight boat to take stuff over there. You mess with Miss Teresa. Real. Laugh my Jimmy. See, we need to get you a co-host so you can take breaks between speaking to get your thoughts. Y'all know I get up here and get excited. That is something I'm thinking about. I just, one, they need to be available. Two, I got to figure out a way for them to be compensated. If I have a couple of personalities join me on, in the Java Cafe, the Java Morning Show or something like that. So that is something that I'm thinking about doing. But we just got to get some sponsors because folks ain't going to come do that. Listen, I'm committed, but that's a hard commitment to ask some other folks to do. Manny's in the room. Yo, what's up, brother? Love the show. Always listening. Never text. Truly appreciate you. Please take a look at my clothing apparel. We would love to hook you up. As long as you got red. I haven't had somebody reach out like that. I'm committed. Yes. I ain't messing with you. Pam, thank you. All love with the village. Ma, thank you. I think we got that right. $PAMELAAMIEE. Please cash. Oh, Obi does more than take pictures, y'all. Thehoodlife.com. Brother, okay. I will listen, I will definitely check it out. 2020, brother. Serene, from Forever Unknown, came by and blessed me with a red sweatsuit. I can't fit it no more, so I haven't been able to wear it. I will definitely check it out, brother Manny, and definitely show you some love. And yeah, absolutely, my brother James. When we connect, talk biz, we can discuss options to which I have access to secure sponsors for. I was gonna say GBH for Java with Jimmy. Mother said traveling mercies to Pam. And I think that's it. I'm going to get off of here. Jimmy, I'm happy to jump on. Okay. All right. In the next couple of weeks, y'all, I might have to, real knows I'm going to have to change around this living room and turn it into a little mini studio until the studio over at, Southline is ready. Wait a minute. We got both the Dickersons in the room this morning. Good to see you in the room, brother. Miss Teresa said you got a big box coming into. How you sending big boxes and you was taking care of nursing yourselves? All right, so Obi and Pam in the next couple of weeks on a weekday morning. I got to figure out where there's a gap. Next week, we have some great guests lined up for you. We'll have more information about that tomorrow. But the week after next, we are approaching it as Black Media Week. And so I'm looking to bring some local Black and brown artists onto the platform and talk about equity, talk about what they're doing, stories that they're writing and trying to bring attention to. So we're doing that. And so somewhere in that gap, we'll figure out to see when Obi and both Pam are free. Because imagine the three of us up here in the morning talking and just going in different perspectives. So, all right. And Michelle, thank you so much. Oh, God, you too. All right. Anissa just jumped on. Mr. Reese, you better take care of yourself. Eat and drink water. I'm getting off of here, folks. UCB, you get an hour this morning. And Black Media Week. Absolutely, brother. I need to talk to you too, because yeah. All right. I'm off of here. I got to go get brother Newt. Miz. 25, half an hour. Be ready. All right. The way that Mama Java knows that she must be watching on my personal page. And when people are live, if they're watching, a notification comes up. Obi joined and is watching with you. Real Boston Media joined is watching with you. So when she gets that notification, hi, she says hi to them. So when folks jump on, if they don't want folks to know that they're in the room, Mama Java is going to make sure that they know, or we know that they're here. So we might have to put Mama Java on security. All right, I'm getting off of here for real. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Again, thank you to Mayor Wu for coming in and giving us some updates. Our next date for WGBH, I just found out, 21st is crazy. WGBH at 10 a.m. and also at 8 p.m. we will be back at Grace by Nia for the jam session and singer showcase. Y'all need to come check that out on Wednesday nights, not just when I'm there hosting, but every Wednesday. Few things going on for Valentine's Day for those of you that have someone to do something with on Valentine's Day. Grace is doing a special menu. Estella is doing a special menu. I believe Hugh is doing a special menu. So go out and support these businesses. Go on my page on Instagram to get a highlight. $95, you get a 6-course meal. And then they are actually having mocktails at Estella's. Grace is doing her wonderful thing with her new group, not new group, but formerly debuted as the Grace Notes at Estella's on Wednesday. So check out both of them. And Hugh is doing something special on Valentine's Day as well. So for all y'all couples and got lovers and okay. Mr. Can I perform Baby Be Mine by MJ? Yep, you can. And guess who's going to be right there recording it? And make that a reel. All right. Ma's on it. Ma told somebody to check their Facebook message. So Ma, who needs to check their Facebook message? I'm getting off of here. 9:50. Ma trying to make us stay on so y'all can get an hour and a half. Everybody have a wonderful Wednesday. What am I doing tonight, Jesus? Oh, we will be on location tomorrow. And I'll just leave that there. Have a wonderful day, everybody. And we'll see you tomorrow morning on location at 9 a.m. Peace.